Israel's war against Iran has entered its fourth day. Israel says it's launching simultaneous strikes on the Lebanese capital of Beirut and the Iranian capital of Tehran. Well, these images show the aftermath of those strikes in Beirut. Israel says it has been hitting Hezbollah strongholds in the south of the country. Hezbollah, which of course is backed by Iran, says it has targeted 3 Israeli bases in response. Iran has been striking back across the region, while the U.S. State Department says American citizens should leave the Middle East. Let's go to the scene live in Beirut at the moment. You can see smoke hanging in the air there, and we are just hearing that at least 30,000 people are already displaced in Lebanon by the war. That information is coming to us just now from the United Nations. While Israel's defense minister has told troops to take control of new positions in Lebanon, countries including Israel, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait have all reported Iranian missiles and drones entering their airspace in recent hours. Well, the Iranian Red Crescent says more than 780 people have been killed so far. The United States says 6 of its service members are now known to have been killed. Well, let's take a look at the picture in Lebanon. I've been speaking with our correspondent Lena Sinjab, who is in Beirut for us. The strikes are continuing, targeting Hezbollah strongholds in both southern Beirut and in the south as well. Hezbollah itself is not stopping. They've resumed attacks, launching rockets in the early hours of the morning on various locations in northern Israel. Despite calls from the government to ban any military or security activities by the group, the country at large is blaming Hezbollah for dragging the nation into war. Some people are even calling it treason because they have acted in the interest of Iran, which caused the killing of Lebanese citizens and the displacement of thousands. Those who lost their homes in the 2024 war with Israel are now, once again, having to flee their homes because of a one-sided decision by Hezbollah to act according to Iran's wishes. And that is widely how people are viewing the situation. For the first time, I have to say, even loyalists to Hezbollah from within their own communities feel that this was a wrong decision. And they feel that this was a sort of suicide attempt from Hezbollah by making this decision and dragging the whole country into war. The government, on its side, is trying to de-escalate, sending messages about a political solution and attempting to isolate Hezbollah militarily and in terms of security. But it's going to take a while for this situation to de-escalate, and the hope is that the country will not be dragged into a prolonged war with Israel. Well, of course. This is a fast-developing situation. I want to bring you some more updates that are coming in from the Middle East. We are hearing from the Interior Ministry in Bahrain that sirens have sounded there. We are also hearing from the United Arab Emirates that authorities are dealing with what they've described as an advanced fire in the port of Fujairah. That information comes from the government there as well, and as we were telling you a short while ago, at least 30,000 people are now displaced in Lebanon following the war in the Middle East. That's also coming into us from the United Nations. Now, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has been talking about the war. He said President Trump wanted Iran to make a significant, long-term commitment to never build a nuclear weapon, and that commitment wasn't forthcoming. Let's have a listen. After months, really almost a year, of painstaking diplomacy, and what the president determined is that he didn't want to just keep the country safe from an Iranian nuclear weapon for the first 3 or 4 years of his second term. He wanted to ensure that Iran could never have a nuclear weapon, and that would require a fundamental change in mindset from the Iranian regime. So he saw that the Iranian regime was weakened. He knew that they were committed to getting on the brink of a nuclear weapon. And he decided to take action because he felt it was necessary in order to protect the nation's security. So, both Senator Marco Rubio and the president have said something along the lines of, "You ain't seen nothing yet," and We can hit 3 times as hard. What does that mean? Well, what it means, Jesse, is that we have a lot of capacity here. I think there's a lot of chatter about what our objectives are, what our goal is. And I think the president has been extremely clear about our objective, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But there's also been a lot of conversation about what our capabilities are. And look, I know this stuff. Of course, I'm not going to get into classified details on air, but the President of the United States knows exactly what we can do. He knows we have a far greater ability to damage not only the Iranian nuclear program, but also the various missiles that, as you've seen, threaten our troops. And they have been launching those very missiles at our soldiers for the past 3 days. So, the President has made it abundantly clear that the United States has many options here. You know, this could last for a little while, or it could go on for much longer. But I think the President just wants to signal to the Iranians and to the world that he will not stop until he achieves that all-important goal of ensuring Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon. And this isn't just for the next few years, or because we took out 1 or 2 enrichment sites, but it's about the Iranians themselves making a long-term promise not to build a nuclear weapon. That was U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. Now, let's go to our North America correspondent, David Willis. J.D. Vance just mentioned on Fox News that Donald Trump knew better than to get the United States mixed up in the kind of conflicts we saw in Iraq and Afghanistan. But, Mr. Trump has also been warning of what he's calling a big wave of American military strikes on Iran, saying it's imminent. He certainly made it sound that way. Mr. Trump said that America's mission to destroy Iran's ballistic and nuclear weapons programs and to obliterate its navy had, in his words, just started. And we heard similar thoughts from the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who said the next phase will be, as he put it, see even more punishing. But while the United States is about to ramp up its attacks on Iran, Iran is increasing its attacks on U.S. allies in the area. Saudi Arabia was the latest victim of Iranian drone attacks, 8 of which were shot down. 2, however, managed to strike the U.S. embassy in the Saudi capital, Riyadh, briefly setting it on fire. There were no injuries, but the U.S. and State Department has still urged American citizens in 14 countries across the entire Middle East to leave as soon as possible. The social media post read, and I'm quoting here, in all capital letters, "Depart now due to serious safety risks." We also heard from Donald Trump today, with his sentiments echoed by his Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, that they are not ruling out the possibility of boots on the ground. Now, if it were to come to that, it would of course significantly increase the chance of American casualties.